Hello, my dear parish family of Our Lady of the Woods. It's that time again this week. You know what that is. Update from your priest here in the woods, Father Bob Johnson. Welcome. I'd like to welcome all of you and even our other brothers and sisters of different faiths or whoever is going to watch this at this moment. This is an update on the parish of Our Lady of the Woods in Woodhaven, Michigan for the week of September 14th. Today is a very beautiful feast day in the church. It's called the Exaltation of the Holy Cross. And I just want to take a moment to enter into that feast. Certainly we can kind of focus through that Good Friday moment with this very hallowing sound and music of these words. Behold, behold, the wood of the cross, on which now hung our salvation. O come, let us adore. And as we come to this beautiful feast day of the Exaltation of the Cross, certainly for the Catholic community, the cross is who we are in many ways. We make the sign of the cross when we begin our prayers. I was thinking of where has the cross impacted my life lately. Yesterday when we baptized one of our newest members, our little boy for our parish, at the moment in the baptismal rite where we're invited, the priest traces the sign of the cross on this little baby's forehead. And the beautiful thing there is that the parents and the godparents are invited then to trace the sign of the cross. It's a moment, a symbol for claiming that little one for Christ. And so the cross has a lot of beautiful moments, and I hope that this week as we go throughout the week, today it's a beautiful time to just reflect on the power of the cross in each of our lives. Tomorrow we have another beautiful feast day, Our Lady of Sorrows, which is really kind of I call the epicenter of the traditional moment for the Catholic Church in the month of September, where we look at the 7 sorrows of Mary. But I'd like to just kind of close with this triumph, or what we could now call the Exaltation of the Cross, with 2 images. The one image is in an article that came from Little Flower Church on 9/14/2014. The article there says, "My sisters and brothers, symbols speak to us more powerfully than words or ideas. The cross is the symbol of the greatest love story ever told or lived." Very powerful moment. I'd like to turn just to a very short poem to kind of bring in the other moment for the cross. It's a poem by Mary Oliver, who's a New England poet. Very, very short poem. And it's entitled The Uses of Sorrow. And I thought it was very appropriate, and when you read it and you hear it, it's so short. But it too gives us, I think, a little disclosure of how the spirituality of the cross should be in our lives. Here is her poem entitled The Uses of Sorrow. Someone I loved once gave me a box full of darkness. It took me years to understand that this too was a gift. Very short, very strange, but if you listen to it one more time and then kind of ask yourself, how does this help me in my faith on the exaltation of the cross? Someone I loved once gave me a box full of darkness. It took me years to understand that this too was a gift. And the commentator basically wrote after that, I hope that when this feast occurs, the Exaltation of the Cross annually, we come back to the darkness of the cross that is a gift. For when we do, we spend a lifetime beholding the cross. We prepare ourselves not for the afterlife, but for this life here and now. So that's my little kind of thoughts on the exaltation of the cross today. As one other remark was made, when we spend a lifetime gazing upon the cross, we prepare ourselves not for the afterlife, but for this life here and now. Just like any women or men, boys or girls, we become brothers and sisters to one another. And that perhaps is what makes the box of darkness in this poem a gift. When we open it, a friend, a brother, a sister, someone we love, is sitting there beside us. And so may the exaltation of the cross today be a moment of grace in your life and in mine. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So a few announcements on this weekly update for our parish. First, I would like to let you know that starting today, we begin our faith formation classes on Zoom. Grades 1, 3, 6, and 7 this evening on Zoom. And tomorrow evening, Tuesdays, will be grades 2, 4, 5, and 8. I want to take this moment. Yesterday, we commissioned our catechist in the parish. Next weekend is actually the Sunday of, the commissioning of catechist, Catechetical Sunday. But because we're celebrating our 45th next weekend, Our Lady of the Woods celebrated it this last weekend. So we want to thank our catechists, wonderful men and women. It's hard enough to become a catechist in the parish, but when you have the pandemic lurking around you, it becomes even a lot more challenging. So I want to really thank those men and women of our parish who have said yes to being a catechist. I also want to thank our DRE, Claudette Wagner, as she continues to grow in her ministry and job, for her hard work and the energy she's putting in and the moment she's growing into her position. Certainly the rest of the parish staff has tried to support her and tried to support faith formation. So we certainly want to also thank Joanne Petrie, who is now our faith formation secretary, Dolores, who's helping them out. We want to thank Becky in the front office, Jason, even Vito, who cleans away. We have Patrick Nichols coming on to clean Mondays and Tuesday evenings so that we don't have anyone overworked totally. I want to thank Don and Paul who have been helping and moving things. So it's been a real staff commitment, and we think that things will go well. We place them in the hands of Our Lady of the Woods. So let's continue to pray for our faith formation. If you have not come to receive your backpack yet with the textbooks and a couple other little goodies, you really need to do that. Anyone who's registered in the faith formation program at this point, there's a backpack waiting for you here at the parish office. So come in, call, talk to Becky, or call and leave a message or talk to Claudette. But it's important that you pick that up, because when we decide how we're going to move forward after Zoom in September, we'll need to have those backpacks ready for all the children, because they might, some of them, if you decide to let them come in, some of them might be coming in, but they'll need that backpack because they're going to bring in what they are going to come with, and they're going to take that with them when they leave each catechetical class. Those who decide to just simply do homeschooling at home, we understand, but certainly our catechist here will be sending them the materials, and will want to connect with your child or young person at least twice a month. But we're not sure about that part yet. All I can tell you now is we're having Zoom meetings Mondays and Tuesdays for the month of September. The grades have been divided. Look at the bulletin, call the office, or review this parish address from your priest. Also, this coming weekend is a big hallmark here for Our Lady of the Woods. We're celebrating our 45th anniversary. So hopefully those who came last weekend received their mask. If you come this coming weekend and you don't have a mask, you'll get a mask then. If you really wanted to get a lot more, I've got 25 people who need a mask. Aunt Tallulah and Uncle George in Florida, and Aunt Becky and Uncle Tanunu in, Tallahassee, wherever. There's a link on our parish website where you can actually go to order them. So I would just encourage you, next weekend, come to the 4 or the 9. We'll have cupcakes afterwards, already self-contained, to celebrate the 45th. You'll see the new trees that were planted in the parking lot area for the memorial of those. We had some trees that didn't survive over the years. So you'll see some things. I talked to you already about Our Lady of Lavon. There's a beautiful, which I'll be discussing with you in a moment. When you walk into the church, you'll see this wonderful, beautiful display. I call it kind of an artwork, and it really tells the story of our patroness, Our Lady of the Woods. So please, know that you're there for 4 o'clock or 9 a.m. You can still pick up a mass, get a cupcake afterwards. At the 11 a.m., Bishop Battersby will be here this coming Sunday, September 20th. Father Phelan will be here. Also, Deacon Tremmel. Now, I'm going to kind of play the big bad guy. I know Father Phelan would love to see you all and, go up to you and hug you and talk to you and speak with you. But we're going to try to plan some kind of dinner where we invite Father Phelan back at some time after the pandemic subsides. I have to protect Father Phelan, if you know what I mean. He's older now, and so I will kind of be a little buffer. And so don't get upset with me if I try to whisk Father Phelan away along with the bishop afterwards. It's not that they don't want to speak with you, and I know Father Phelan, if he hears your voice, he'll want to stop and go and give you a hug, but I have to protect him also. So please understand that I might be a little forceful on Sunday, and the bishop and Father Phelan, and of course Deacon Tremmel to a point. I want to protect them. And it's not that I'm saying I'm afraid of you all, but I just want to make sure that they're safe, and especially with Father Phelan, as he's gotten older now. And this is why I have this beautiful plaque of Father Phelan here. It's in the office. I'll put it over in church, within the next couple days probably. It's a beautiful reminder of our founding pastor. And that's here on my door in the priest office here at Our Lady of the Woods Parish Complex. That takes me to that masterpiece that's in church right now. I'll be putting a story in the bulletin about Our Lady of the Woods, because Our Lady of the Woods has a narrative. She has a story, and we want to know that story. If you walk into the gathering space when you're going into church, you'll see a beautiful, like a book that's been painted that tells you the story of Our Lady of the Woods from Galloro, Italy. And so I will be sharing that in the bulletin, and I will also be bringing that story to the children, to different organizations. We'll print it on what I want to do eventually is put the image of Our Lady of the Woods with our prayer for the parish on the back of it. So we want to thank Ron and Val, who worked very, very hard, Ron and Val Taylor, for building this beautiful masterpiece. But I would ask you to kind of get a sense of the story. And the story itself is about a young boy named Santi Bevilacqua, who is out in the woods and he's playing around, and he goes through these brambles and he gets into the woods and he sees this old kind of part of an old wall, an old foundation of something. And on that wall is this little image of Mary. And he sees it, he loves playing in there, he brings all his friends. Unfortunately, after a while, his friends are going through all these fields, and so the farmers get upset and, you can't cut through our fields. Don't come through our fields. So he stops going out there, and one day he's working in the lumber shop of his uncle, and the roof of the lumber shop just totally falls in and collapses, and the only area that was protected was where Santi, whatever. Santi. And Santi gets up, and his uncle says, "Oh my goodness, I'm so grateful you're alive," and all of that. And he tells his uncle about this image that he had remembered of this beautiful Mary, this beautiful image of Mary. And so he takes the uncle out into the woods through the brambles, and they come to the old foundations, and the uncle and the village find out that it was an old church built hundreds of years ago. And the image was actually painted by a monk, they think, a couple hundred years before that. And so the village, with the uncle, rebuilds the whole church, and it's dedicated to, and it becomes the reminder of the story Our Lady of the Woods. So the two things I'll tell you about the story that I think we can really apply to our own parish here. One, those children had to walk through brambles. And here's Santi, who finds this beautiful, sacred, holy place. And I think it's a reminder that our children, our young people, and all of us have to walk through brambles. But as a parish, Our Lady of the Woods, our patroness, will help us get through those brambles to know her Son. And then the other image I'd like to leave with you is that whole thing about, the uncle comes along and sees the foundations, and the village decides to rebuild that whole church. And I think that's the call for us. After 45 years as Our Lady of the Woods, going into the next 45 years, or however long the Lord has planned, that we too keep building on the foundations of our Catholic faith here at Our Lady of the Woods. So you can read about that more in the bulletin. But again, I want to thank Val and Ron, who spent a lot of time working on that. I would like to announce that our adult faith formation team met, and we will finalize what we'll be offering for adults at our meeting on September 18th at 2 p.m. Someone said to me the other day, well, what really is adult faith formation? Adult faith formation is being able to offer a workshop, a session, a class, a seminar for anyone who's really 18 years and over. And I think sometimes as Catholics we have this little attitude, oh, I was baptized, I made First Communion, I was confirmed, I got it all, I've got the full package, I don't need to learn anything else about my faith. And wrong attitude. Because that's when we start to say, there's so much richness, and there's such a beautiful treasure of our Catholic faith. The early church fathers and mothers, all the saints in their lives, all of the writings and all of the phenomenal expressions of our faith over 2,000 years led by the Holy Spirit. None of us can fully get to a point where we think we fully know our faith. And I would encourage you again to go to form.org. But after September 18th, we will publish for you, don't forget I'm talking about, as I said last year, 3 faith surges. I don't believe you can say to someone or to a parish nowadays, we're going to have a full year session on whatever. We need to hit it in what I call faith surge moments. So we'll have one faith surge moment coming up in October, November, before the holidays. We'll have another faith surge moment after Christmas, sometime in January up to Ash Wednesday. And then we'll have our third faith surge moment in kind of April, May, before everything gets going and summer approaches and all of that. So please know that we're going to be offering you as adults some very interesting moments, and I hope you take advantage of them. And don't come with the attitude, I know my faith, I was born Catholic. We all can grow in our faith. I'm still waiting on some of you to contact Jason or myself or even Becky on sharing a tale for our program, Tales from the Woods, 45 and Alive. A lot of you like to tell the tales, but have the guts to come on and share it on Zoom or video. So you can contact us and we'll make, it doesn't have to be long. You can come on with a story that takes a minute or two. Come on with a 5-minute story, whatever. But we hope you will participate. I think at this point, that's all I wanted to say to you. I'm going to close with something I read from a friend who sent it to me yesterday. She is a funeral director. Now, Becky's telling me something right now. Let me go. The what?
The carpet cleaning.
Oh, yes. Before I get to this, Becky's reminding me about the carpet cleaning that's going to take on in church. And it's going to begin tomorrow, Tuesday, September 15th, after the 9 a.m. Mass. So we're going to have to close the church after the 9 a.m. Mass because it's not going to dry anytime soon. So it looks like we will probably close the church for Tuesday and Wednesday, okay? So Tuesday after the 9 a.m. Mass, and on Wednesday we'll have the church closed. I'm very sorry about that. But if you come, you can still go and say a Hail Mary. Go to the Mary on the right side of the church that's been there. Go to Our Lady of Lavan, that's right here now. So you could still maybe come, say a decade of the Rosary, and pray in your own little way. But unfortunately, again, tomorrow after the 9 a.m. Mass, Tuesday, September 15th, and all of September 16th on the Wednesday, the church will be closed because we really want the carpet cleaned well. Thank you, Becky, for reminding me. I'm going to be 57 soon, and if you know your faith, it's on Our Lady of the Rosary. I'm a little rosary baby, so I don't know if you know what date that is, but you know, now that I'm over 55, I'm thankful for Becky and others on staff who remind me of things. So this is my closing moment of humor. I got this from a friend, Joanne Martinique. She's a very good friend of mine, her and her husband, and she's a funeral director in Rochester, where I was assigned some years ago. She sent this. She says, well, she didn't say this, but she sent it. The devil whispered in my ear, "You're not strong enough to withstand the storm." I whispered in the devil's ear, "I love your eggs." I don't know if you love that. Do you like deviled eggs? Do you even like this little corny sense of humor? Whatever, but that's what I got today for you. So I close with a song on this feast of the exaltation of the cross. And I hope in the meantime that you have a beautiful day. They hung him on the cross. They hung him on the cross. They hung him on the cross for me. One day when I was lost, they hung him on the cross. They hung him on the cross for me. Have a beautiful day. God bless you. See you next time.